M. Trudeau, comment évaluez-vous la patience des Canadiens ce matin?
Le 9 %, est-ce que c'est une offre finale, M. Trudeau?
Évidemment, on ne va pas négocier sur la place publique. Ça se passe à la table des négociations. On est en train de continuer de faire des offres constructives. On a de l'espoir qu'on va continuer de voir des avancées, mais ça prendra le temps que ça prend.
Jusqu'où vous êtes prêt à aller pour le télétravail? À quel endroit vous pouvez encadrer ce télétravail-là que vous acceptez?
Comme j'ai dit, on ne va pas négocier sur la place publique, mais ça fait partie des discussions qui sont en train d'avoir. Les conventions collectives, ça se négocie à la table et c'est là qu'on est en train de le faire, dans le respect, de façon positive et concrète. Mais évidemment, il y a des moments de haut et de bas. C'est naturel dans des négociations comme ça qui sont prises au sérieux et j'encourage tout le monde à la table de négociation de continuer de négocier de bonne foi.
La semaine dernière, M. Trudeau, vous disiez...
Frustration, pas tout de suite. On est quand même juste quelques jours depuis le début de cette action syndicale, mais c'est sûr qu'au fur et à mesure que les Canadiens ont plus de difficultés à accéder des services, à être préoccupés par leurs impôts, les frustrations vont monter, mais pour l'instant, les principes de respect de grève, de négocier des conventions collectives de bonne foi, on est en train de faire le travail nécessaire.
Vous semblez avoir changé d'humeur. La semaine dernière, vous nous disiez que les Canadiens auraient probablement des limites à leur patience. Vous semblez finalement être prêt à attendre aussi longtemps qu'ils le font. Vous dites
non, pas du tout. Je viens juste de dire que non, j'ai pas une patience infinie, mais je sais que nous avons des avancées de façon constructive. Évidemment, il y a des moments plus productifs que d'autres, mais on sent que on est sur une voie où les conversations se conduisent de façon plus ou moins positive et un petit peu plus ces jours-ci. On va continuer de faire le travail. Il n'y a pas de raccourci quand vient le temps de respecter les syndicats.
Just got a handle on things like the passport backlog and trying to make headway on immigration backlog, and now there's the risk that it starts all over again. What is your response to that? Is it frustrating for you that you're back to ground zero here?
Well, I think, first of all, understanding the importance of defending the rights to collective bargaining, the rights people have to job action, this is something that's really important for our government. So yes, it's frustrating to know that Canadians may, as the days come, have more difficulty accessing services, but that's a motivator for everyone to try and resolve this. The union is certainly very aware of Canadians' impatience, and they have to calibrate that carefully. As a government, we are there to respect collective bargaining. We're there to make progress at the table, and right now, progress is being made. There's an ebb and flow in these negotiations always, but we're going to continue to stay positive and constructive.
Dans la loi sur les langues officielles, vous offrez une protection supplémentaire à Radio-Canada CBC. Dans l'éventualité où un gouvernement conservateur voudrait couper CBC, pourquoi vous offrez cette protection supplémentaire à CBC en utilisant la loi sur les langues officielles?
Malheureusement, on a vu sous le gouvernement conservateur de M. Harper que des attaques contre Radio-Can CBC sont réelles. Ils ont fait énormément de coupures parce que, encore une fois, on voit souvent que les conservateurs n'aiment pas nécessairement que les journalistes font leur job de façon indépendante. Les Canadiens, à travers le pays, comptent sur CBC Radio-Canada pour leur information. Et en plus, il y a un volet de nouvelles locales qui sont fournies par CBC Radio-Canada qui sont essentielles et que M. Poilievre et les conservateurs continuent de s'attaquer à ces nouvelles locales, à ces communautés linguistiques en situation minoritaire à travers le pays qui dépendent de Radio-Canada en particulier, démontrent encore une fois que les conservateurs ne sont pas sérieux sur la protection des deux langues officielles et surtout des minorités linguistiques. Merci beaucoup tout le monde.
What's the latest on negotiations in the state of affairs and strike?
Good morning. Well, I'm actually frustrated this morning because we keep to receive offers that are unreasonable, unaffordable by the PSAC, and this is continuing the strike. And I wish that we could find a reasonable place to be able to offer, of course, fair wages to employees. I cannot write a blank check. We have a PIC report, a third party that recommended salaries at a fair advantage for the employees, and that's what is on the table. And we will continue to negotiate. We're still at the table, but I just am in a place where I'm hoping some movement today.
It sounds like it's stalled, or is it gridlock?
No,
or
we're
is it
still
demands?
at the table. It's just that we keep receiving unreasonable and unaffordable offers.
Est-ce que de jour en jour, on se rapproche du scénario de loi de retour au travail? Parce que
Présentement, on reçoit encore une offre qui est déraisonnable et qui n'est pas abordable. C'est inabordable.
mais c'est
Et
ce
on
que vous avez
continue.
dit jour 1, là, on est
Je
plus au
suis
jour
encore à la même place où je reçois des offres qui sont inabordables et qui sont déraisonnables. Tant et aussi longtemps que ça ne bouge pas, ça va être difficile de se trouver une place où on va avoir une entente qui va être raisonnable pour les Canadiens, mais aussi qui va être juste pour les employés. La Commission d'intérêt public a présenté sa recommandation. La recommandation, elle est juste et nous allons continuer à travailler très fort. Nous sommes encore à la table, mais je peux vous dire que je suis frustrée ce matin parce que ça
Are you
avance.
considering
About the offers?
Les tiers parties présentent, the third parties present fair wages with the 9%. That is what we're presenting on the table.
Est-ce que c'est
That is
final?
what is
Est-ce que c'est
fair.
final?
Est-ce que c'est notre final?
Est-ce que
We
c'est
are
final?
ready to continue conversation, but unless they come down to a conversation, we won't be able to.
Est-ce qu'en ce moment, les négociateurs négocient en ce moment?
Oui, ils sont à la table.
Merci.
said there was about a week's worth of wiggle room in the system before things started taking right off the rails, and I'm wondering, we're at a week. So where are things in terms of the system and backlog and volume?
Well, because we've seen such a reduced level of applications into the system, we actually have quite a bit of capacity at this point in time. So, as opposed to receiving about 20 to 25,000 applications like we would on a normal day, we're receiving between 3,000 and 4,000. So there's considerable capacity in the system. So, we're feeling quite confident about the ability of the government and Service Canada to deliver passports once the strike has been lifted.
Donc, il n'y a pas encore de backlog, finalement. Si, I couldn't hear super well. Si c'est
Yeah.
si c'est au lieu d'être 20-25 000 par jour, c'est 3 000 par jour, il n'y a pas encore de backlog.
Non, nous avons la capacité dans le système. Bien sûr, les applications ne sont pas traitées à ce moment. Alors, quand la grève se termine, nous avons la capacité dans le système de traiter ces applications, de reprendre le traitement des applications, mais comme nous avons vu une diminution d'applications, on n'a pas cette quantité d'applications dans le système.
OK, merci.
Ouais.
We're about 1 week into the strike now, and at the outset, there had been discussion about how the system could handle about a week's worth of work stoppage without, backlogs getting out of control. I just wonder if you could provide an update about the state of services and where the backlog is going at this point on the weekend.
So far, there have been tens of thousands of files not processed that otherwise would have been processed. Of course, the impact of the work stoppage will only be identifiable with precision once the duration has come to an end. Of course, the longer any work stoppage goes on, the more severe the impacts are going to be. We're going to continue to work to identify priority areas where people's lives may be in danger to ensure we can still maintain those essential functions. Of course, when we have a clearer picture of the catch-up we'll need to undertake as a result of factors around the work stoppage, the length and the nature that any further stoppage may take on, we may have to look at what policy decisions we should make to play catch-up. Of course, we've been doing that for the past year and a half after the pandemic. It's no secret that there were real challenges with the large number of cases that built up in our system. So we've been trying to embrace digital solutions. We've been trying to relax non-essential policy requirements, and we've been trying to inject more resources into the system. As a result of those different policies we've adopted, we saw a significant catch-up with a return to service standard across most of our immigration streams, and we were getting very close on visitors' visas, which was more or less the last remaining category. So once we have an understanding of the timelines that we're dealing with and a full understanding of the impact of the work stoppage on processing, we'll then be in a position to understand how long it will take to play catch-up. I remain hopeful that parties will continue to engage at the table so we can actually find a solution and get back to the level of productivity we were experiencing up until the recent work stoppage, and we'll go from there.
Do you have a sense, for example, of how many citizenship ceremonies had to be postponed or otherwise rescheduled, or things that had been already set to go, but because of the stoppage, had to be delayed?
So we had to cancel all of the scheduled citizenship ceremonies. I don't have the precise number front of mind, but we could follow up. There is a number of those that have been canceled today. Of course, what's on my mind is not just the impact of files that were not processed or ceremonies not held over the past week, but those that could be impacted in addition, depending on the length of a continued work stoppage. It's having a very serious impact on our operations, as we expected and discussed publicly, but we're going to do whatever we can to get back to those standards of service we offered before the pandemic that I think people should be able to rely upon.
Have you seen any, seen any decrease in applications as people have said, oh, okay, well, because of the strike, I better not submit an application, or is it business as usual in terms of the flow coming in?
I haven't seen data on that. I expect there are some people who are probably watching it, but the realistic experience I've had over the past year and a half, despite the fact that there were processing challenges previously, is when a person has a major life event, they're going to a child's wedding, they're attending a funeral, there's a major conference that they'd like to go to, they're usually submitting applications based on a specific timeline during which they'd like to travel, or a job opportunity that's come up, or an academic year. So my expectation is that we're probably not going to see a significant drop-off in applications. Anecdotally, I have no doubt I'll hear of a few, but I've not seen data to bear that out quite yet. Okay, thanks very much, everyone.
La loi sur les langues officielles qui va protéger davantage CBC et Radio-Canada, c'est vous qui avez présenté la nouvelle mouture. Vous aviez inséré là-dedans une forme de protection pour Radio-Canada et CBC. Il faut m'expliquer un peu la pensée derrière cette...
Bien, c'est très important justement qu'on protège Radio-Canada et CBC. Pourquoi? Parce qu'ils ont un rôle fondamental dans le fait de protéger le fait français au pays et de protéger aussi les minorités linguistiques. Donc, je pense que Pierre Poilievre a erré lorsqu'il a décidé de s'attaquer à CBC Radio-Canada. Je pense que les Québécois sont tannés que les conservateurs s'attaquent au fait français. Pardon. Moi aussi, je que les conservateurs s'attaquent au fait français, à notre culture. On a déjà joué dans ce film-là en 2008 lorsque Harper avait décidé de couper les vivres au secteur culturel au Québec et au pays. Puis on ne le laissera pas passer.
Parlez-moi un peu plus de l'article dans la loi qui se retrouve dans la loi. Ça dit quoi exactement? Et ça a une valeur quasi constitutionnelle, si je comprends bien?
Mais l'important, c'est essentiellement qu'on reconnaisse le lien entre notre radiodiffuseur public et la protection des minorités linguistiques au pays. Puis on a reconnu aussi, dans le livre blanc à l'époque, et la ministre des Langues officielles, Ginette Petitpas, l'a réaffirmé à plusieurs reprises, que le français est en danger au pays et donc on devait en faire plus. Alors nous, comme gouvernement libéral, dans cette vision qu'on a de protéger les langues officielles, on va toujours être là pour aussi protéger notre radiodiffuseur public.
On Sudan.
Yeah. Okay, so a couple of things. I have updates for you. So as of this morning, 1,800 Canadians have registered on ROCA. So basically, the information that I gave you yesterday helped because more people decided to go on Global Affairs Canada's website to make sure to register. There are now 700 Canadians that have raised their hand in Sudan to get the help to be evacuated. As of this morning, we had 150 Canadians that have left Sudan, and I would like to thank Germany, Sweden, and the UK for their efforts. We are actively working right now on evacuation lifts, as the Prime Minister has mentioned yesterday, and I'll have more to say in the coming hours regarding this.
What about family members?
So, the people that will be able to be part of the evacuations are obviously Canadians, and of course, like I mentioned yesterday, we're including dual nationals because a Canadian is a Canadian, which is different from other countries. So, we are including Canadians, we're including permanent residents, we're including also their families. When I mean the families, is their spouse and their dependent children, and the children of their dependent children.
But so, maybe specifically, the Sudanese Canadian Community Association specifically asked for a special immigration program to help extended family members who are not Canadian citizens come to Canada. Well, some type of visa, similar to what's happened in, say, Afghanistan or Ukraine. Does that be considered?
this is definitely something that the Minister of Immigration is considering right now, and so this is something that we will be looking at and working on. Of course, in times of crisis, Canada is always there to help, and that's why we'll be there to help.
Juste pour clarifier les chiffres, c'est 1800 qui sont maintenant enregistrés, dont 700 ont levé la main.
C'est ça.
Dont 150 sont partis. Est-ce qu'on additionne? Attends juste.
We have assets in the region, we have personnel in the region, and we'll continue to work very closely with with Global Affairs Canada to ensure the safety and security of all Canadians.
And what could the timeline be? How soon could those materials have to be there?
The situation at Wadi Sedna Airport is very volatile, as is the situation on the ground generally. So we're working very closely with our allies to ensure that we have a secure and targeted approach to get Canadians out.
And will decision be made on whether or not Canada will send troops?
As I said, we have personnel and capabilities in the region, including 2 ships in the waters just off the coast, and we'll continue to do whatever possible together with our allies and with our own capabilities to ensure the safety and security of all Canadians.
Do you want to try and get to Port Sudan to meet a ship?